Let go of the how. Yes, you are the master. You are the creator. You get to create anything you desire. But let go of how that desire comes into being. It's one of the most important steps. And I think it's one of the ones that we get caught on so often as human beings. Because our conscious mind, we're seeing all the things and this is playing out. And oh my gosh, I have this thing I don't want and I have this thing I do want. And well, I don't want to lean into the thing I don't want and have more of that happen. So I'm just going to get rid of that. And I want this to happen. So I want this only. And we have all these conscious things that we think means that this is going away and this is happening. And when it doesn't happen that way, we get frustrated. But it's so important you let go of the how, because what happens is the how has nothing to do with physical actions you take in the external world. The how of creating the life that you are happiest with, the life you desire most, the financial freedom, the beautiful health, the amazing relationships, that how is an internal shift. And I promise you, it does not matter who you are. It does not matter what it is you desire that is different than what you have now. The how is an internal shift of things you may not be aware of because it's subconscious programming. And I want to get really vulnerable with you today. I'm going to share with you my experience going through the subconscious shifting itself through the internal shift that happened when I let go of the how in my life. So I spent years and years and years of my life having the same pattern repeat over and over and over again. I would get really excited. I would feel very, very pumped up about an opportunity. I would jump into something and end up walking away because it didn't work out or having it fail for a myriad of external reasons. It was the same pattern over and over and over again. And I remember, so what happened for me is I decided I'm done with this pattern. I want to grow and have the things that I'm working on succeed. I want to put my energy in something that works out for me and adds to the life I imagine. So I got really clear about what that life felt like. Hey, things are just clicking. Whatever I jump into just falls into place naturally. Everything flows easily. I am exactly where I want to be. I'm doing the things I love. And felt it, and it was real. And got really serious about letting go of the how. So here's what happened. All of a sudden, there was drama and trauma everywhere. In my connections, in my past businesses, with old business partners, with new colleagues, you name it. It was just everywhere. There was so much going on because it was bringing to the surface a belief that I was holding on to that was creating that pattern. And I'll dig into what that is so we can get really vulnerable here. And I would love to share with you what my journey was because I believe it'll help you. But on a higher level, here's what happened. I get really clear. I get in alignment and I say, hey, this is the life I want. It feels like this. I want to feel like this. So my spirit says, okay, well, let's create situations that are going to show you this doesn't match this, so you can shift this and get that. Now, you're going to have a lot of people out there, a lot of gurus who say, well, you have to do inner child work and you have to do shadow work and you have to do all this other stuff before you're ready to truly manifest. Yes and no. Yes, that work will come up. But you don't have to go seek it out. You don't have to push. You don't have to do anything. The only thing I did before this transformation happened that I'm about to describe to you, got really clear about the life I wanted and what it felt like, then released what the how was. So digging into what happened is as I had all of these things come to the surface that I couldn't ignore that were very dramatic and very traumatic, and there was a lot of toxic relationships and a lot of expectations that I couldn't fulfill, and things felt like they were falling apart. So of course my mind says, nope, fix it, make these people happy, you're in danger, they're going to take your well-being away. I said, nope, I trust this is part of my how. And here's the journey I went on. My mind when I was relaxed and calm and in alignment and not responding to fear, which I observed the fear and I didn't respond to it, I had to trace back through my life this same pattern. And I realized as a kid, being raised in the home I was raised in, I was always told, if I'm not perfect, it's not good enough. I remember report card conversations with my mother, and I hold no grudge towards my parents. I don't think, oh, they ruined my life, and I'm not putting blame on them, but it's just an observation of, oh, I can see where this belief started to form and the experiences that I attached to. But I remember conversations, for example, with my mother where I would bring a report card home that had a B on it, and she was distraught. Well, you're a genius, child. Why do you have a B in math? Why isn't it an A? Did you not try hard enough? Are you not listening? Are you not doing your homework? I even remember pointing out to her, Mom, other parents think that B in math is good. Well, that might be good for their kids, but not my kid. I expect my kid to be perfect. And I realized something started back then. I did not have a safe place to fail. I did not have a safe place to learn and grow. I was either perfect or unacceptable. And so this belief started forming, and my subconscious started deciding this is the programming of who we are. And then I started seeing this pattern throughout my life. I would jump into something I love and am passionate about and want to be a part of, and oh my gosh, I can't wait to do this thing. And as soon as I do it, well, it's not good. It's not as good as the expert who's done it for 20 years. I guess I'm not good enough. Throw it away. Oh my gosh, I really want to be a part of this opportunity, but I don't match all the criteria of it right now. Well, I better just tell the people I do and figure it out as I go and try to push myself to get the result they would expect from me, because it has to be perfect all the time. I can't learn. I can't get better. I'm either good or not. It either works or it doesn't. So I had this very black and white programming, and this pattern kept repeating in my life. Now, I want to be very, very clear here. This doesn't mean my whole life had been nothing but I gave up on everything. I've never succeeded in anything. I had some great successes and some miracles and some beautiful blessings that happened. But even in those, there was this idea from me, from this belief, that if I wasn't the best, if I wasn't perfect, it wasn't good enough. I'll give you one example from my life that really hits home for me. I love music. I love writing music. I love performing music. I love being on stage. I love watching people light up. I love feeling that connection as I'm up performing to somebody who lights up and I can see that light in their eyes. In fact, when I was performing regularly, I always had this little speech I gave before every performance. I would say, music is not just about what you hear. It's not just about what you see. It's mostly about what you feel. So I invite you to feel something with me tonight as I share my music. And I pushed hard. In my mind, I was the best at music, or I'm not allowed to do this. So I had to be the best. So pushed and grabbed and grasped at every opportunity, to the point that even me and my band had an album that was nominated in the Utah Music Awards in 2014 for Best Alternative Album. And we got to perform at that Music Awards ceremony, a new song we'd written that wasn't even on the album. So it was like, yeah, this is great success for an amateur musician. This is great success for somebody who's not some big superstar. But it wasn't good enough for me. Not because of ego, not because of, oh, I'm better than everyone else, because if I'm not better than everyone else, I'm a failure. I'm not safe to be good enough. Now, this is a belief I didn't realize was creating patterns in my life. It wasn't like I was consciously deciding this. I really felt like, you know what, maybe we've hit our peak and I'm done and I need to give up music. And I put it away for a long time, even though I love it. But there was no safety because of that belief that I had formed and held on to for so long. There was no safety in just loving music. If I'm not the best at music, I'm not allowed to do music. And this kept happening over and over again in my life. There were businesses that I would start that had amazing potential, and because I didn't have all of the skill sets perfectly down to know exactly what to do to launch every piece of that business, well, I didn't want to reach out for help because then people would know I'm not the best and that's not safe. And I'll be told, basically, you're not trying hard enough and you're not smart enough and you're lazy, or all the other things I had learned as part of that programming. So couldn't reach out for help, couldn't learn new things. Or if I had to learn something, I better learn it really quick so nobody realizes I never knew it in the first place. And then I noticed part of this pattern as I was digging back through my experiences was I would always bring in somebody to fill in the gap of something I couldn't do, but it couldn't be somebody that was better than me because it's not safe for me not to be the best. So it had to be somebody who also was over-promising and under-delivering and ended up not giving us what we actually needed in the space that I did get them there for. So I'm bringing in people that are not safe and grounded and ready to be a part of a non-toxic team. So of course, coming to the surface, once I realized, once I allowed and stopped letting go of the how, these things coming to the surface, all this trauma, all this drama, all this toxicity in these relationships was exactly the way to create the life I wanted. Now, the life I was imagining was a life of just peaceful growth, a life of being at peace where I am, learning and growing every day, being part of things I love to do, not worried about how successful they are, and letting that be enough. So that on top of the financial freedom, I had emotional freedom and safety. Now, coming back to this. So my mindset wasn't, oh, I need to deal with the trauma and the childhood wounds and the this and that. I wasn't even aware of them, guys. It was a blind spot. My mindset was, I'm in alignment. I want my life to feel like this. The spirit says, good, trust me. Here's some traumatic experience. Here's some extreme drama. It's going to come into your face right now, but that's okay. You got this. It's part of the way. Trust me that the way this happens is the perfect way for you. Because I was not safe to receive the life I wanted, holding on to this belief that if I'm not perfect all the time, I'm not good enough. So do you see why it's so important that you do not choose the way your manifestations come into being? Because actually the manifestation is just the reflection of who you are. So when you're saying, I want financial freedom and I want more money and I want it to feel like ease and peace and joy and I want it to come easily, it actually has nothing to do with the money. You're saying, I want to let go of the things that are not allowing me to feel ease and peace and joy and safety and security and prosperity and abundance in my life. And not everything you manifest is going to have some big trauma blind spot that comes up, and that's okay. The point is, you don't choose the way because the way's already been created. You're shifting your internal identity. You're shifting your vibration. So yes, there will be times things are falling apart and you might have to go back and go, oh my gosh, look at this belief I created in childhood. Let me heal that. Let me tell you what I did. I had a conversation with that child who felt so much like a loser because he didn't get all A's all the time, who felt like he wasn't good enough because he wasn't perfect at everything he did and didn't have the safety to not be perfect and learn and grow. And I had a conversation with that child and said, it's okay. You don't have to be anything to anyone. You are amazing the way you are. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to do anything to prove to anyone else. You are safe to fail. That was a big one. You are safe to fail. If you do your best and it doesn't work the way others expect it, it doesn't matter. Those are all just reflections anyway. So do what you love. If it doesn't work to anyone else's expectation, it doesn't matter. And for me, that conversation was enough. Enough to help me release that belief that had created this pattern in my life so many times. But what if I had decided how this was going to happen? What if I had said, okay, I want more money and I want it to be easy and I want it to be peaceful and I don't want to have to fight for it and I want it to just flow to me. And all of a sudden, this weird, dramatic, traumatic situation I could not have predicted came up. Well, I'd be fighting it and it's someone else's fault and how dare them, and I need to do everything I can to protect myself from these outside influences so I can get back into flow. Which means I wouldn't have peace and flow and joy that I wanted. This is why it's so important that you don't get to figure out how, but trust that the how is already done. You will have experiences. Not all of them are going to be as intense as the one I described. And I, of course, didn't go into every little detail of it. I think you get the feeling of what I went through. Not every experience is going to be as intense, but you will have the exact experiences you need that shifts you from who you are to who you want. If you let go of the how and trust the process. You really are a powerful creator. In fact, everything in your life right now is created by that programming that you have, most of it subconscious that you may not be consciously aware of. You already created. So to shift the experiences you're having, shift who you are, and trust the how is figured out. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. There will be times that you're faced with something that just brings your fears to the surface so much you think there's no way I can handle this. That's it. Shut it off. I'm going back to the old me because at least the blind old me didn't have to face this experience. I want you to remember, experiences are weather. Sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's stormy. It comes and it goes. Do not let an experience shift you back into a pattern you don't want. Those beliefs that you have are what are shaping your experiences right now. And experiences are coming up to help you become aware so you can release. Let them happen. And while you're going through this, I promise you will have exactly what you need. Even though it may not feel like it at times, because that fear is your mind trying to hold on to that old belief and go, oh, no, look, this person is still doing this thing. We have to fix it because you're not safe to not be perfect. So you can't show that person that you're not perfect. You can't show that person that you don't know everything they want you to know and do all the things they want you to do and get all the results they want you to get. Yeah, that fear is your mind trying to hold on to the familiar, your nervous system trying to hold on to the familiar. So I want to remind you, and I've done this process as I was releasing several times till it finally hit and I was in alignment with it. If you feel that panic and that fear, do not act or react. Watch it. Calm your body. Take some deep breaths. Inhale slowly and then exhale slower than you inhaled. That type of breathing tells your body it is safe, lowers cortisol levels, and gets your body to stop the automatic response of, oh no, danger. And just watch the feeling. Yes, it's uncomfortable. And there will be thoughts trying to race, well, it feels this way because of this, because you did this, because you changed this. Now you have to go fix it. No. Observe it. We do not act in fear. We only act when it is inspired and it feels like peace, and that's it. So you watch that feeling till it passes. This is allowing the storm to pass and saying, okay, now that the storm's over, what feels like peace? You deserve a life of happiness, joy, peace, bliss, love, abundance, and the ability to do what lights you up. So stop trying to choose how to create that. Feel it, create it internally, and trust you will always be directed to the experiences that are the best for you to create that life. See you next time.